I met with a new preceptor who really sounds like a fantastic clinician and preceptor, and I thought I would share this PMHNP's precepting style and method. So a few things about the preceptor. It's a PMHNP with nearly a decade of PMHNP experience. They see patients mostly in person, but also via telepsych. The PMHNP practices independently, but through a company called LifeStance. The preceptor loves LifeStance because they're W-2 employees and they have a competitive compensation and benefits package. Providers are able to have a good work-life balance because the clinicians have control of their schedules. And we get nothing for mentioning this, by the way. We're just passing on information that a preceptor told us. So in an interview with DM, the PMHNP, the preceptor said, I see patients of all ages and conditions. The top 5 conditions that I see are the following: depression, anxiety, sleep disorders, trauma, PTSD, especially among veterans, and ADHD. Preceptor's philosophy is, I consider psychiatric care to be an art form that thrives on collaboration, interaction, and customization for each individual client. So for the precepting style, the preceptor says that students will not only learn the clinical, but also the business side of running a practice, including time management, CPT code selection, medication management, and psychotherapy occur at every appointment. Students sit adjacent to the preceptor as the preceptor interviews clients, charts, diagnoses, prescribes, and bills the insurance companies. Preceptor says, I do this mostly in person, but can also do telepsych with students. The student reviews my chart notes my charts in the morning, and then I give the student a brief synopsis, about a minute long, about the patient that I'm going to see before I see the patient. I give the student a brief synopsis of the diagnoses, what's going on, and what medications the patient's on. My patients are back to back, and I see patients from 8 a.m. to 4 in the afternoon. I do synchronous charting, such a cool thing. So I never take charts home. When I'm done charting, I'm done seeing the patient. If the student has any questions, I tell them to write them down during the patient visit. Then I will answer them either immediately after the appointment, or I will sit down with the student and answer them later in the day. Also, any time that the preceptor has a break or if a patient no-shows, they take an opportunity to answer student questions then. But the preceptor also asks the students questions. The preceptor will ask things like, what do you think about this? Do you have any experience with this? Why do you think I picked this medication? I really like to have that full feedback. It helps make them use their critical thinking skills. When I was a student, the preceptor says, I was with a preceptor where the students were just allowed to observe, and I didn't learn much because they didn't provide feedback. Students just don't learn well that way. Students are just basically going off whatever their preceptor's favorite medications are, and then they adopt them as their own, which might not even be correct. So that's why this preceptor always tells people, patients and students, I'm not going to give you any medication recommendations at all until I hear the full story. And I'm going to go over what's going on from sleep to anxiety to panic attacks to depression to whatever the case may be. You're not going to know all of that usually until the end of the interview. So I have the student do that for several encounters, and usually the goal is towards the end of the rotation, that the student can do the initial or the follow-up visits on patients. Students should be able to take the preceptor's notes from the last appointment and effectively do a follow-up, because I write really good notes. That's one thing that I train students to do well. If any type of new medications or something that's kind of interesting shows up, I'll give the student a little bit of homework. I might say, hey, teach me about X medication. That's a newer medication. Or teach me about Rexalta. You don't hear that too often for bipolar patients. I give them a little useful homework. So the preceptor's choice for their EHR is a system called Advanced MD EHR. And the preceptor says it helps with practice management, so the preceptor can focus on patient care. It even does marketing It has 4 tabs: HPI, mental status exam, patient vitals and current mood, and the provider's medication recommendations, plan, and assessment. And the preceptor says it's very user-friendly. Something that the preceptor always teaches students is synchronous charting. They say they never bring charting home. I'm a quick typer. I finish my charting between each patient, and I see a lot of patients in the day. A lot of people are going to have a lot of the same things: depression, anxiety, sleep disorder. Pretty much see that across the board. So it's easy to get confused between patients. So it's good to chart properly, and that's important. Overall, I love to teach, and I try to teach students how to do it right and do it efficiently. I don't know about you, but we think that DM sounds like a fantastic preceptor and provider. We hope that you found this real-world precepting case helpful. I think it works in multiple situations, not just psych. Can you share how you like to precept? Let's all learn from each other. We generally don't share preceptor names because we don't want anyone inundated with requests to precept. But I know we can all share with each other and help each other grow and learn. Keep on learning. Hey, it's Lynn here. I'm the founder of Preceptor Link. Do you want to see more content intended for NPs, APRNs, students, and on the topic of precepting? Then like, follow, and subscribe our YouTube channel, LinkedIn page, and our blog. And if you have a topic you'd like to see addressed, let us know. We're here to support, educate, and learn from each other. Comments are always welcome, but please keep them kind and constructive. Keep on learning with Preceptor Link.